Good. All right. So we looked at on Monday, we looked at a high level overview of everything in the system, from step 1 all the way through step 10. And then we went through step 8, and then we really spent a lot of time focusing on the close and how do you identify objections and what do you do with those objections once you get them in the close. Then you guys had an opportunity to either run a real appointment or you had an opportunity to do an evaluation with an ops coach or with your franchise owner, maybe another DA. And what I would like to understand from you this morning is, what was your biggest takeaway from either the session that we did or from the evaluation that you did? What was your biggest takeaway from Monday? And let's see, Eric, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I just got a lot of work to do. I mean, it's one of those things where you just got to practice. But
so what was your biggest learning though? So yeah, we've all got a lot of work to do, but what was your biggest learning from Monday?
I would say, getting those questions down. I'm usually pretty good at ad-libbing, but when I have to memorize or try to remember a question a certain way, it kind of gets in my chi a little bit.
Okay. All right. Nikki, how about you? What was your biggest learning from Monday?
I found that I wasn't very smooth, and I just know that that'll come with practice, just like any other sales position I've had. But I didn't think that I would get stumped as much as I did. So okay. I think it's just lack of practice.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go to Tyler Simmons.
Well, I did a call yesterday for a small backsplash job. We ended up landing it, but I did miss getting that objection in the beginning. So when it came to the close, there was like some dead air that felt strange. I didn't really have any direct path to follow.
Got it. So learning to get those objections at the beginning. Good. Good. Jenny, how about you?
Yeah, so I had an appointment yesterday, and my opportunity kind of showed itself when we were just inspecting the space. There's small nuances in the tile that just because I haven't been around it that much, I didn't pick up. Ephraim, the DA that I was working with, could tell that there was some work that was going to need to be done to the subfloor, and I would have missed it just because I haven't necessarily been around that type of work in the past. And you can also tell real quickly that the baseboards had already been changed by the customer in an area that they've already done, and I kind of missed that opportunity to use that as another point of upselling. So
got it. Okay, good. So being really, really thorough when you're inspecting the space. I love it. Amy.
So I need to slow down in my company story. I got through it, but one of the things she said was, I thought it was going to go over because I had a lot of words, so she thought it was going to take too long. It ended up not, but I didn't give her anywhere to interject or make any comments. I just ran through the whole thing, and so I basically talked for 9 minutes straight.
There you go. All right, good stuff. It's good to learn these things, right? Good. Let's see, Jeff and Carrie.
So for me, two things. One, things are starting to come together. I thought that the slides of Monday's class were probably the best ones in terms of just the way I think. And so there was a lot of linear thinking in that, which is kind of the way I'm built. And so it just started falling into place. And then I think also the piece that adds to that was how you walk through the objections. And then when we got to the point of having content to put into the box, like monthly payments, okay, we're going to work on deferred payments, or credit, let's do no interest, no interest, no payments, etc. That stuff then just helped bring it together for me.
Good. Carrie?
Well, it's tough being a customer, which is what I was. But Blake sold me, so I ended up buying. But it's amazing because sitting not in the DA position, I thought, oh, okay, 3 questions, you could forget one or whatever, but it is true. They do follow and does bring you around, so.
Good. Good. Let's see, Patrick.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in a similar boat where I'm looking to transition the process steps of what we're learning into kind of like the nuanced situations of being like on site or talking to a customer direct instead of sounding like kind of like a robot or trying to think of what I need to do next. But really just kind of like catering to the customers, figuring out their needs and being able to like utilize the process principally for when it's needed.
I love it. I love it. And remember Monday, we talked about whenever you're learning a new skill, there's not just one way to do it, right? So I can't teach 62 different ways to do this. I have to focus in on one way to teach it, but that doesn't mean that everybody's going to do it exactly the same way, right? You have to make this your own. You absolutely have to make this your own. And I'm glad that you're starting to see that and put the pieces together. Good. Let's see, Mark.
Yeah, I really like the pre-close question and then how it flows into picking a specific product and then handling the objection and being able to, figure out the BS excuses that customers make and kind of hold them accountable if you ask that pre-close question. One of the things that I noticed on my appointment is I feel like I didn't do a good enough job really getting the customer to buy into that product because I brought in several choices and they're like, well, let's look at this and this and this. I said, okay, I can give you pricing on all of those, but she didn't fall in love with one and focus on that and then work through the other.
Okay. All right. Good learning. Let's see, Nate.
Recording in progress. Yeah, so Arlen, I think for me, and obviously I've had, a little bit of practice with this, but really where the light bulb went off is really thinking about the walk of life and how we really kind of walk through that, really taking each objection, figuring out where it is and really walking through those steps. And it was just kind of like a light bulb went off for me, just as I've done a lot of ride-alongs and things like that, where I look back at some opportunities where, it could have refined or asked that exact question to be able to continue the conversation and not just end it with, okay, well, give me a call next week and we'll follow up.
Good. Blake.
Yeah, actually, to piggyback on that, right? Definitely the walk of life, right? And being able to navigate in those questions, but also being able to listen. But more specifically, what I loved was getting it back to price, time, payment, interest rate, just significantly increase. If I trust your numbers, Arlen, in percentages, getting the close percentages back up by going through that. That was pretty cool.
Those numbers are close. They may not be exact, but they're really, really close.
They're close enough to better.
Close. Yep. Good. Let's see, Jonathan.
So I think I really need to work on my transitions, like going from one slide to the next and sort of making that flow better. And just sort of making my version of the story more conversational and less robotic and formulaic.
Good. I like that. Let's see, Eric. I believe we have Eric Chen hiding from us.
Yeah, I was not here on Monday.
Yep, I trust you went back and listened, right?
I haven't had a chance to. I just got back from my honeymoon on Monday. So I haven't had a chance to, and that was a pretty long one. So I was expecting to be able to, listen for like an hour or two and be done with it, but I haven't had the chance to actually go through all of it yet.
Okay. All right.
So I'm a little behind, but I will catch up.
Perfect. Good. Let's see, Ryan Davis.
Yes, it's been it's good to always go through everything that we're going through. I've had quite a few appointments this week as I do got experience, but I closed a couple on the spot today just because I walked through the steps of the company history, that type of stuff. And, all mine are good in-home consultations, but just reminding the steps where we are. Just had somebody that just immediately wrote a check. You know, it wasn't a big, it was like 65 yards. It said, doesn't matter what it was, but I think going through those steps, it would have came back to the office and, you know, did a proposal to that. But I guess it definitely worked as a, you know, did a bunch of them that we closed. But rarely you don't have them pull out their checkbooks and wanting to give you a check. So something worked.
I love it. I love it. Good. Let's see. John Poon.
Yeah, it's really same thing. It's just the clothing. Just that time we're a little nervous and trying to get those pre-close questions correct. And the walk of life really kind of helped also in trying to navigate about how to keep the client kind of interested and hopefully to continue to land the job without having to walk out of the house empty-handed.
Nice. Nice. Let's see. Robin, what was your biggest takeaway from Monday?
Yeah, it's just repetition, you know, do it over and over and over again until it sounds really smooth. We practiced that with Nikki together on the call after our training session. And the first couple of times we started a lot of asking questions and almost felt like I was fighting it here and there, right? And then all of a sudden, the more you do it, the more it's the smoother it sounds. So that was my takeaway.
Nice. Nice. Let's see. Roger and Alondra.
So my biggest takeaway will be that at first I was reading. That's something I won't be able to do when I get to the client. So when Brenda started to make objections and more objections, I started to improvise, but in a good way. So I learned that it's good to do that and stop reading.
I love it. I love it.
And,
Roger.
well,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, enter well. I was just going to say that.
So, well, in my case, what I understand is that, well, to learn how the step 6 and 7 works. I mean, like what to ask to the customer and how to ask them to the customer, and basically to not receive any poo-poo answer from the customer.
Does poo-poo translate? Is that okay? We understand.
I think that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Good. Aaron, what was your biggest takeaway from Monday?
Yeah, I think a couple things. One, for me specifically, I just need to, go through the full sales process more often. It's like, as we've gone through the training, I've gone through pieces of it and like done the PowerPoint or the open, the close, but like that was really like my first time outside of talking with friends and family of going through the whole thing. And it was just good for me to do that and practice and realize, man, I have a lot to work on. And I'm similar, like I was trying to like recall, like look at notes, like recall, like make it perfect. And like that just made me fumble even more. Like I just need to talk and worry about the 5 questions that we need to know, but the rest is like I just need to like know I know this stuff, but not worry about trying to memorize everything else, because that's what stumbled me more than anything. And Jackie was also throwing in little punches here and there and making it hard, and it was great. And then the other thing is the walk of life. I need to know how to incorporate that into the objection and like how to respond, which piece of the walk of life based on the objection.
Nice.
So whether that's, price or timing or whatever it is, and just make sure that's smooth. Because for me, it was like, oh, what do I do next? I got this objection and I was just like, oh no, I know there's something, but I don't know what it is.
Nice. I love it. I love it. All right, Sandra.
Really, in short, I think it just reinforced how uncomfortable I am with the sales process. So I've got a lot of work to do.
All right. Well, we're going to work on it. Good. Let's see. Jen Reichel.
Hello. So yeah, a lot of the same things that everyone's saying. And just to piggyback on that, it's funny because I can talk to anyone, but to sell somebody is super uncomfortable. And I really like hearing these objections. It's really seeping in now to try to bring them out, and that's a good thing that you want somebody to object, because I think I've always ran from that. So that's comforting, and I feel like that all makes a lot of sense. And then having you start our Monday telling us how to handle that, and seeing those percentages again is really encouraging. I did for the first time do the company story yesterday with a client, and my transition was a little funny. Luke was there with me, so he was kind of grading me and watching me, and I was like, and he said something about it, and I said, well, do you mind listening to my company story? And she was very gracious and very kind, and it kind of broke the ice, and it made it a little bit easier too. But then just in practical, because I haven't done it in front of someone, I slid past after the inspection video. So I didn't make it through the whole thing. So I've got to remember how to work the tablet correctly too.
Yep. There you go.
But it was good.
Keep
Yeah,
swiping until you can't swipe anymore, right?
Right. It's funny. You just, sitting in the uncomfortable is something I just have to really practice. She was looking at her phone, and so it felt like she wasn't into it, but she was really trying to get me some before pictures. So she was still listening, but I was like, oh, I need to hurry. And the next thing you know, I accidentally closed it and was done. So, but
I love it. So Jen, I will tell you that I did not come from a sales background. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. I did not come from a sales background. And actually part of the reason I like this sales process is because to me, it is linear, it flows, and I understand the pieces. And over time, as I have learned more and more and dug deeper and deeper and deeper, I've actually become somewhat of a student of sales psychology, if you will, to understand what makes people tick. And I don't know, it's fascinating, but this isn't my background. So when I first started doing like where you are right now, when I first started selling and I first learned flooring and I first started doing this, I just really had to come up. In my mind, I just had to really get really, really comfortable being uncomfortable, because there was a lot of stuff that made me feel uncomfortable, and I just had to embrace it. And like, you know what? I'm going to be uncomfortable until I get good doing it. And it is what it is. I'm just going to be uncomfortable. So that's actually a
I'm
normal
excited
feeling.
about that now. It's like, it's one of those one more life things to overcome, right?
Nice.
And then
Yep.
it just gets helpful in every area.
Nice. Yep. My daughter is in Fort Collins, so she's not far from you. My wife is flying out there in the middle of August, and it's my daughter's goal to take her up on a 14er. So my wife is going to be uncomfortable in a different way.
Yep. Well, there's plenty to choose from.
Yep. All right, let's see. Jen Hine.
Take myself off mute. Yeah, I just feel like at the tail end here, parroting what everybody else is saying. It's just like going about getting a little bit better. It's just like, I mean, I come from a design background, so I'm used to more freestyling it. And it's just like going, and when you're in the home and pretty much it's just like going on the fly. So it's harder to translate that into a sales system per se. But it's just, but I think it's just like everybody else. It's just the repetition and just getting in there and doing it and calming myself by saying this will get easier with practice and with time.
Nice. Let's see, Dan Voss.
Yeah, I really appreciate everything that people have been sharing, because it's all the same thoughts and feelings that I've been having. I think for me, it comes down to just being more confident. And I think that comes with repetition and practice. I noticed each time I run through everything, I get more and more confident. So that's a good sign. So that's where I'm really at right now, is repetition, practice. Specifically, I would say the company story is an area I'm really working on, and transition questions. And yeah, I would say just keep practicing.
Nice. Nice. All right, let's see. Rosa, we haven't talked to you yet. What was your biggest takeaway from Monday?
Hello.
There she is.
Oh, perfect. I'm running into difficulties again. So, my biggest takeaway, honestly, just the walk of life and like learning how to navigate through each step. But something that I've noticed that I do struggle with is that I get nervous depending on the customer when it comes through going to or with my company story. So it can be really good one day. Um, and then the next day I'm stuttering and I'm getting red and I'm nervous because the customer has opposite personalities that I do. They're a little bit more serious and wanting to get straight to the point. Like my last appointment was last week and it was actually with my franchise owner. Well, I wanted to go through my company story, and as I was about to get through it, he had said, "You know what? Never mind. Let's just hear the price. I know you're a great company." And so I had to get straight to the price, and I have never felt so uncomfortable, and I wouldn't know how to handle that situation moving forward.
Okay, good. We can absolutely work through that. Good. Let's see, Jeremy, we're missing you.
Yeah, I apologize. I'll be on and off video. I'm trying to put some fires out in the warehouse. But I would have to say that being in sales, I'm not used to seeking the objection and trying to get an objection up front. So that's just something to learn. Going through the whole process from beginning to end is going to take some time for sure. Just like everybody said. I think what I was doing that was stumping me was I can easily get on and talk with customers about remembering the key 5 questions, and when kind of throwing me off in the whole process. But to trial and error, I think it'll get done.
Got it. Let's see, Nick. I see Nick's iPhone, but I don't see Nick. All right, we'll come back. I think that's everybody though. Did I miss anyone? I don't think so.
Hey, you hear me?
There he is.
Yeah, so I think my biggest takeaway, I think, is transitioning from, getting into the walk of life, I think, and getting out of the poo-poo stage. It's probably one of my biggest ones. And then also, and just the company story, I mean, taking more time of it, because that kind of separates us from like other companies, and just making it more personal. So that's probably the 2 biggest ones.
Nice. All right, so let's jump right in. The first thing that I want to just review with you guys real quick. This won't take but just a moment, I promise. Well, it'll take longer than that. So I shouldn't promise things I can't deliver. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to walk through quickly. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. You guys have gotten this, I don't know, it feels like hundreds of times. You probably have gotten it from me a dozen times though. And the reason I'm pulling this up is there were several of you that either you or your ops coach or the franchise owner that you're working with sent these to me. That's great, and I appreciate that. There were several that did not. So I want to walk back through this just really, really quick. One of the things that I look forward to in this class is getting a chance to read these competency models at the end of the day. So we're going to do the same thing today. We're going to have class today until about 4 o'clock Eastern. We may finish a little bit early, but we certainly won't be any later than 4 o'clock Eastern. That'll give you guys time to go run an appointment, go do what you need to do, meet with your ops coach, whatever you need to do this evening. And then I look forward to getting these from you guys tonight. You will see my day starts very early in the morning. I'm normally up and about at about 4 o'clock. And one of the first things that I do is go through these comp models. And the reason that I do it is because I want to make sure that I'm tailoring what the group needs during class. So think about it like this. You work with me today, you do an evaluation this afternoon, this evening, you send it to me, and then tomorrow morning I take out of 110 different things that we could do, I pick and choose the ones that I think this class absolutely needs. So if you were to take this class again, it won't be the same twice. It's never the same twice, because Just like we're gonna talk today about customizing your company story. I customize this class for each individual class, but I can't do that if I don't have your comp models. So I want to walk through this in case your franchise owner hasn't spent the time to sort of dig into this. Your score.
Hey, Arlen,
Yes.
can I ask a question real quick? Sorry. So we are supposed to send it, or like our ops coach said she was sending it?
Yep, I got it. Your ops coach sent it to me, no problem.
Okay, so it is them, because we switch ops coaches tomorrow. So it is typically the ops coach that sends it to you?
Yep, it's typically the ops coach that's going to send it to me. And just to be clear, all of the ops coaches sent me the comp models, but not all of the franchisees or design associates that are paired up sent me theirs, right? And so that's my concern. All right, so just a quick note about score, because I did get some where people's scores were 4s and 5s, and although that really feels good, it doesn't tell me where I can help you. Okay, so just be careful that whoever it is that's giving you feedback, if they're giving you all 4s and 5s, push back on them. Say, look, I appreciate you want me to feel good, but I want to know where I can improve. So where is it that I don't quite have this, and I need some additional help? So push back on them. You'll notice that each section is divided into 3 areas: a beginner area, an intermediate area, and an advanced level. Right now, I don't expect anybody to be doing the advanced stuff. I really don't. I mean, if you are, that's great, but that's not what we're here for. What I'm trying to get everybody to this week is to get us to a beginner and an intermediate level. All right, so do a setup call. This doesn't necessarily, it probably isn't the customer that you're going to go see today. This might be a customer that you're going to see next week, but just do a setup call and have your franchise owner evaluate, how did that setup call sound? And every setup call is going to sound different. So I'm not looking for word stuff by any stretch of the imagination, but does it feel like you're pretty smooth with this? Do you have a good setup call? When you get into the warm-up, can you appropriately melt the shield of ice? Can you get some information about the customer to personalize the company story? This is what we're going to spend the bulk of our time on today, is working on personalizing that company story. Can you ask the transition questions? Can you, again, we're not going to bother with the advanced stuff. Great. If you're doing that, fantastic. But what I'm really concerned about is the beginner and the intermediate piece. When you get into your inspection, can you identify? Now, I know this for the franchise owners on here, this is hard. You can't inspect a space over Zoom. I mean, it's impossible. So there's a bit of a pretend element that goes on with this, but this is where design associates, you guys have a huge benefit. If you're actually in a person's house, this is a great opportunity for you to see, just like Jenny was talking about, she's with one of the other design associates in their business. And it's like, I didn't catch the baseboards. I didn't catch this. I didn't catch that. Okay, good. That's perfect. Right. So what does that mean? If I was a franchise owner, if I was in the, Jenny works for Deb DeFisher. If I was in Deb's position, I'd go back to Jenny and say, okay, what can we do to work on that? Right. We're not going to work on company story this week. We're not going to work on the walk of life this week. This week, we're going to work on what does it mean to identify things in the house that maybe you haven't seen. And yes, a piece of it's experience for sure. But what can we do to focus in on that so that you can really gain that skill quickly? All right. I'm not going to go through these one by one. I will say at the bottom of this, to me, this is the most important section of the whole thing. If you like the numbers, you can put in numbers. If you put anything in any of these cells, if you happen to do it in Excel, you'll notice that it automatically calculates you can put numbers in, the numbers don't have to correlate to anything. Doesn't matter. If you put anything in these cells, it will calculate an average for you for that section. And then that'll translate down to a final score at the bottom. Maybe you're not a numbers person and that doesn't mean anything to you. That's okay. What I'm most concerned about is right here at the bottom. So your franchise owner, your coach, whoever you're running with, they should turn to you first before anything else and say, what do you feel like you did well? And where do you feel like you need the most work? So this is a self-assessment piece, right? Then the second part of this, now that you're evaluator, again, whether that's your franchise owner, a coach, maybe another design associate, this is what I saw. And you can walk through section by section, but to me, the most important thing is here's 2 things that we can work on. Right now, I'm going to tell a little story on myself because I like to make fun of me. I had a design associate. I had several design associates, but one in particular, and he had already gone through training. He was out running by himself, but his close rate needed some help. He was okay. He was mid 30s, 35% close rate, but he and I both wanted to be able to work on his close rate and get his close rate up. So I went and ran an appointment with him. He ran the appointment. I introduced myself as, I think I introduced myself as like the production manager, so that the homeowner didn't look to me for sales answers. If he needed any technical installation help, then sure, I could answer that question because I'm the production manager today. Great. We get done with the appointment and we go to a Starbucks. It wasn't a Starbucks, but we met at a coffee shop for me to sit down with him and give him some feedback, right? Now, I thought that I was doing a great job for this guy because I had written down 58 things that he could work on. That number sticks in my head. I wrote down 58 things and we went through every one of them. Now, see, you could have done this, you could have done this. I thought I was being a great coach because, man, I gave him a ton of stuff to work with. Do you know how many of those things he actually worked on? What do you think?
None.
Yeah, how about none? Because it's too much, right? So you might feel like you have 58 things to work on, but you can't work on 58 things. Pick 2 things. These are the 2 things that I want to work on this week. These are the 2 things that I want to focus on and get better at. Okay. I know when we do initial training, I have to show you everything, right? This is initial training. It's different than long-term coaching. Initial training, this is about, we got to get the basics down, and then you can start making the basics better and better and better over time. Okay. So part of, to be just perfectly transparent with you, part of me forcing, if you will, your franchise owners to give you this form each day is to get them in the routine of actually giving you feedback, because that's only going to make you better. And who doesn't want to be better? If you've got a 30% close rate, you want to be at 40. You're at a 40% close rate, you're going to want to be at 50. You want a 50% close rate, you're there, you're going to want to be at 60. It's not that, oh, here, I've topped out at a 50% close rate, I don't need to get any better. You're always wanting to get better. It's just the name of the game. That's what professionals do. So let me just get off my soapbox. Any questions about this form or how the evaluation process works in the evening, this afternoon, this evening?
Arlene, the only question I have for DAs, do you want our franchise owner to be setting the evaluation, or should we be?
As long as I get it. I don't really care which one of you sends it, as long as I get it.
Perfect.
And ideally, I get it tonight. So if that means I get it at midnight tonight, somebody's out on the West Coast and I end up getting it at midnight, that's fine. I don't care. It'll be in my inbox first thing in the morning. I'll be able to jump onto it, right? If I don't get it until 10 o'clock in the morning, that doesn't help me.
Real quick, I think my DA or my franchise owner is on vacation.
So how can we solve that? Who can you run an appointment with, or who can you do an evaluation with this evening that can give you feedback?
It would have to be someone else on this call, if anything. Because I don't, so I'm in a weird situation. My DA, his market area is about an hour away from me. And he has me trying to expand his business out in a different market area, which is why he has me in this training course. So we don't really run quite so much together. I do when I can, but it's, an hour to 2 hours drive for me to even observe him. And I believe he is now on vacation. So I'm not sure what to do with this situation. I can get my wife to kind of create a fake scenario for me. There you go. That's about as best as I can do.
Perfect. Do it with your wife.
Okay.
Give her this form. See, the beautiful thing about this is, so she might not be, in with all the technical stuff, right?
Right.
But she can tell you, did you describe what you love about your job? Well, yeah, I mean, so whether she gives you a 3 or a 4 or a 2, I mean, the number itself may not be quite so accurate, but she can tell you if you did that. She can tell you if, as a customer, she felt like you delivered the key message for each slide. Now, maybe you made it up, maybe you pulled this out of your rear end, but for her, at least from the way the customer felt, it sure did feel like you were telling me what was important on that slide. I think actually that's a wonderful thing to do, because instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm getting graded by somebody that doesn't know the material. Your customer doesn't know the material. Good. So let's figure out whether or not, would your wife have bought from you? Who knows?
All right, I'll do that then. Thank you.
All right, good. Good question. Other questions?
Hey, Arlen, one thing that I realized that I really struggle with too is being able to narrow it down to one option to look at finance, because the appointment we did yesterday, she liked 2 or 3 carpets. She liked 2 or 3 vinyls. She wanted to see the prices for all of those. So what we end up doing way too often is, okay, I'll send you that in email, not even getting to the point where we're presenting price on the spot.
Yeah, and I think this is where it's important. And we went through this Monday, but this is why it's really, really important to, maybe your customer does want to look at carpet and vinyl and look at a bunch of stuff. That's great. Just pick one, even if it's not the right one. Pick one, right? And at least be able to show her the price. So I'm going to maybe I pick vinyl to start with. Okay, good. We're going to look at vinyl to start with. I know you want to look at carpet, but let's just look at vinyl as an option to start with. Okay, so this is what this would be, right? And she says, okay, that's too much, or now I want to look at carpet. Okay, great. Now let's look at carpet, and what is that one going to look like? So instead of presenting all the possible products at one time, it's overwhelming. Pick one and stick with one. And then when she says no to that one, or she says, I want to take a look at another one, good. Then pick the next one and work your way through the process. It's overwhelming to give somebody, here's all the different possibilities and here's all the different ones. And quite frankly, if you don't flip a price in the home, you can't have a discussion with them about the price.
Okay.
Good. All right, perfect. Perfect. Amy, I saw your note. I will do that. All right. So let's move on from here. Let me shift back to the whiteboard. Yes, I had to put the whiteboard in the back of the truck and bring it with me, because it doesn't fit in the overhead compartment, that's for sure. All right. By the way, guys, I'm testing a new microphone today. So if the sound is better, worse, about the same, I'd love to get that kind of feedback. Especially as I turn my back and I'm talking to the board, so to speak.
Arlen, you sound better, but I don't, I hear you more clear. I don't know if that's a good thing though.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be better to turn the stupid thing off. Who knows? All right. So let's start here. Overall flow, right? Customer books an appointment. We call and make a setup call. And just real quick, what's the number one thing we're trying to get out of the setup call? What are we trying to accomplish in the setup call?
Stop them from Googling anybody else.
There you go. Stop Googling. Perfect. Okay. All right. Step 1, the warm up. What are we trying to learn in the warm up?
Their objection to why they're not going to buy today.
Yeah, I'm going to put the objection here, because that's sort of in the transition between step 1 and 2. So what is it that we're really trying to learn in the warm up? Right.
The customer. We're learning who the customer is.
I want to learn about the customer. At this point in time in the warm up, I absolutely could not care less about the floor. I don't care about the floor at all. I want to know about the customer in the warm up. Now, in a moment, we're going to need to know about the floor, but at least at the moment, I just want to know about the customer. All right. So then, yes, in the transition between the warm up and the inspecting of the space, for sure, I want to understand what their objection is. I want them to tell me, oh, I'm going to get other estimates or whatever it is. Okay, good. So step 2, what are we trying to do in step 2?
Through the inspection to kind of learn, obviously based off what the customer, told us, obviously shooting the inspection video, and then also really getting the references in their hand so they can start calling, get some money, obviously off the bottom line. And, it also buys some time as well.
Good, good. All right. So I want to understand, this is where I'm figuring out the floor, right? Black on black, probably not the best. This is where I'm trying to figure out the floor. So what is the current floor? What's it look like? All the technical details. What does the customer want their new floor to look like? How do you want it to feel? How do you want it to last? All that good stuff. And yep, this is where I'm going to give them the reference list. And I almost put the reference list as sort of my transition between step 2 and step 3. That's really where I want them to call the reference list. All right, so what is my number 1 objective in step 3? I'm doing my inspection video, I'm measuring the space. What is my number 1 outcome out of step 3?
Measurements.
Yep, measurements. So I want a price. I'm going to put 3 in parentheses. Might be more, might be less, but it's certainly not just 1. I want to price options. And yeah, I'm going to shoot my inspection video. So yep, that's in there too. Okay. But the main goal out of step 3 is just measure the space and put together my price options. Go out to the van. That's a rough van right there. Go out to the van, pull product. And I come back in, and what am I trying to accomplish with my company story?
Differentiation.
That's it. So we're differentiating ourselves. This is where we help the customer understand our value proposition. Okay. The installation presentation, you've got that as a video, right? And it's embedded in the company story, but this is really where we're showing the customer how are we going to do your new floor. Okay. Step 6, what is the main goal of step 6?
Get them to fall in love with a product.
That's it. So product. And it is product love. Good. All right. So we're going to find them a product that they absolutely love. Pre-close, step 7. Again, I call this a diagnostic question. Okay. And step 8, what are we trying to accomplish in the close?
Get a commitment.
Yeah, right. I want to land this sale. Let's not forget that we're trying to land a sale. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's what's going to pay the bills, right? We got to land the sale. That's the whole goal. And I don't want to get hung up with, well, oh my gosh, what if they don't pass finance? What if they don't this? What if this? What if this? I mean, yeah, look, the first thing we got to do is just land the sale. Then we can get into all the little minutia. But let's at least get an agreement that if I can do this for you, then we can get your job started today. Okay, perfect. All right. We're going to spend time talking about the company story. And this is where we're going to focus a lot of our time today, but that's not where we're going to start. I want to start here. How many of you, maybe even including this class, have just sat through a boring PowerPoint and you're like, man, I wish this was just over. It's all right. 2 weeks ago when Arlen was presenting this, it's all right. I can take it. It's good. We've all been there, and you really don't want to subject your customers to that. If your company's story just sounds like a boring PowerPoint, then that's where their head's going to be. You're trying to deliver some really, really cool information to the customer and help them really understand what's involved in working with us. And if it's just a boring PowerPoint, they're not going to get anything out of it. So they're really not going to pull anything away from it. For your customer, and this is the same for everybody, so you could even answer it for yourself, but for your customer, what is their favorite topic?
Themselves.
100%. It's themselves. I don't know what it is, but people love talking about themselves. Now, you could argue, well, they don't really talk about themselves. They love talking about their grandkids. Yeah, but you know what? Even when they're talking about their grandkids, it's really like an extension of them. Okay, this is how the grandkids interact with their life. People love talking about themselves. Well, what if we incorporated them into the company story? In other words, what if we took parts of their life and weaved it into the company story? That feels like that would be pretty cool. Okay, that's why your company story actually starts back here. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to start delivering the company story in the warm-up. So let me make sure that I'm really, really clear here. You are not giving the company story in the warm-up, but you are capturing information about the customer, and you're going to then use that information when you get to the company story. Every company story should sound different. You should never be able to give the same company story twice. So we're going to work on that. But before we jump to the company story, we got to start with a warm-up. Get a clean sheet here. So in the warm-up, what do we want to talk about in the warm-up?
The customer, what they're interested
The
in.
customer, their interests, what they love to do.
Okay, all right, so customer interests.
The other members of their family, whether they be two-legged or four-legged.
The form acronym.
All right, so yep, I like the form. Family, occupation, recreation. Okay, motivation to spend. Okay. All right, what else? What else do we want to talk about in the company store? I mean, in the warm-up.
Arlen, I think there's a great opportunity too. Like, if you have, like, let's say you notice the customer has maybe common interest or things that, the example I'll share is Josh, my business partner, used to actually work for, strangely enough, a Thomas Kinkade art gallery. And if anybody knows anything about Thomas Kinkade, it really has a cult following for the people that love it. So he was able to speak to the actual paintings that he saw in the house, and it created that common bond between the two, and really drove a good conversation.
I like that. Okay. Yeah, if you can find common interest, that's great. That's really good. What else? So
Can we talk about their neighborhood?
All right, Amy. So their neighborhood. So Nate, I love common interests. I also love the opposite of that. And that is where I see something in the customer's home, that I don't know anything about whatsoever. And then I can get the customer to teach me something, right? So, and that gives the customer the opportunity. I'm putting them in the driver's seat. I'm letting them be the expert, and they're going to teach me something, because here in a few minutes, I'm going to be the expert and I'm going to teach them something. So there becomes like this, well, you've shared this with me, so now let me share this with you, right? And it's, so I personally love it when the customer teaches me.
So Arlen, specific to common interest, because as we said like 30 seconds ago, people's favorite topic is themselves. So if you do common interest, I find for me especially that if I say, oh, your kids like soccer, mine too, I end up telling a story about me instead of keeping it focused on them. So for me, I want to stay away from common interest so that I don't turn the focus to me.
Can I say this diplomatically?
That is absolutely true. No one cares.
Nobody cares about your story.
Which is why I don't talk about common interest, because I will end up telling them my story.
I'm sorry. It's just, this is the opportunity for them to talk, right? We're giving them a gift. I want you to think about it like this. We're giving them a gift. You are giving them 10 or 15 minutes to just unload their story on you. And there's very few places in the world left today that will allow people to do that, right? I don't care. Go to a store and try to talk about your kids. It's probably not going to happen. Let some contractor come into your house to show you, they're going to build a deck on the back, and sit down and talk to them about your latest vacation. Yeah, it ain't going to happen. And they're like, look, I got to go. Let's go. Time is money and money is time. I got to get out of here. Let's look at the deck. I don't care about your vacation pictures. You're giving somebody a very unique opportunity to talk about themselves. Now, Amy, I will say, look, oh, your kids love soccer. Mine do too. Where do yours play? And just immediately focus it back on them, right? Immediately focus it back so that they have an opportunity to talk about themselves. I love it. Good. Okay.
Arlen, it reminds me of something I taught my kids, that when you're learning how to become a friend, those people that they think about how you made them feel, and the people that feel good about around you are going to want to be your friend.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. If you do a great warm-up with somebody, you should be able to determine, you should be able to figure out, where does this person spend their time and their money? Where does this person, now maybe they don't spend as much of it there as they would want to. Maybe they don't have, their job keeps them so busy that they don't really get the chance to spend a lot of time with their hobbies. They would love to spend all this time, but they've got to do this. So it's not necessarily where they actually spend it, but where they motivated to spend the bulk of their time and money. Okay. So if you sort of finish a warm up and you can answer that question, this is where somebody spends or would like to spend their time and money, you've had a great warm up, because you've really understood what's important to this person. You can ask 100 people, what's the most important thing to you? And some people are going to say my faith. Almost everybody's going to say their family. Okay, that's great. But look at their checkbook and see where they actually spend their money. That's going to tell you what's really important to them. Look at where they spend their time. And that's really going to tell you what's really, really important to them. Okay. And what you're doing in the warm up, you're giving them an opportunity to share their story, but you're trying to discern, where is this person's motivation to spend their time and their money? I'm going to show you how we're going to weave this into the company story. Okay. But for now, just understand that when you're working on a warm up, you're trying to break the shield of ice and all that wonderful stuff, but it's sort of in the back of your mind, I want you to be thinking, where does this person spend their time and their money? Or where would they want to spend their time and their money? And then, of course, at the end, if you will, as we move into step 2, then obviously This is sort of my transition to step 2. These are the transition questions. And I want to be able to get an objection, right? So how long have you been thinking about replacing your floor? What made you decide to do it today? Or really, what makes you say that? I want to be able to get the objection before I start walking the space with a customer. But before I ever do that, the most important thing is to understand what this customer is all about, what makes them tick, where do they want to spend their time and their money. And then I can, once I've gotten that, then I can move forward from there. All right, so as strange as it sounds, we're going to practice this. But before we do, we've been going here for right at an hour. So what I'm going to do, I want to give you guys a quick break. Take 15 minutes, run to the restroom, get something to drink, whatever you need to do. In 15 minutes, I'm going to keep this tight. So my clock says 12 o'clock. At 12:15, we're going to start. I really need you to be punctual because as soon as you get back, I'm going to send you into a breakout room. And it's going to be hard to do that if people aren't back together. So you've got 15-minute quick break. On my clock, when it says 12:15, I'm going to send you guys into breakout rooms and we're going to start working through this warm up.
Hey, Arlen, I need to talk to a candidate. Are we gonna have a longer break a little bit later that I can schedule around?
Yes, we will.
Best guess?
Best guess is 1:30 Eastern.
Perfect.
Best guess. All right. Good. So everybody's back. How did that go?
I think it went really well.
Good stuff. All right. So let's see. Amy, who are you paired with?
Mark and Jenny.
Oh, that's right. You guys had you had 3, so you had to move quick, didn't you? Move quick.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So come back here. So Amy, when you were the design associate, who was your customer?
Jenny.
So Amy was paired with Jenny. All right, so tell me everything that you remember about Jenny.
So Jenny's originally from Chicago. Her and her husband moved to Arizona 3 years ago to be closer to her brother because her son and her nephew are only about six months apart, and they're thick as thieves. Her husband does travel back and forth to Chicago. He has a business there that installs security systems and low voltage systems. She gave her old job, so she said she was working at CarMax, really likes CarMax, really likes the way their process is. So her son and her nephew are, like I said, thick as thieves. They play video games together. They do a lot of swimming. Being in Arizona, they do a lot of swimming a lot of the year. But her son is actually going into high school and is going to become a pilot, so he's not following mom or dad's footsteps. They've lived there 3 years and have been thinking about replacing the floors since then. They have a medium-sized dog that sheds a lot and gets hair everywhere, so she wants something easy to clean, but it needs to be resistant as he is a 45-pound dog. Wants to get it done before the holidays, and her husband is not going to have anything to do with the buying process. He just throws his hands up and says, you do what you want.
All right, perfect. So let me ask you this. If Jenny could spend her time and money wherever she wanted to, where would that be?
I didn't get that part. I missed it.
All right. So based on what you're going to have to make an assumption here, based on what you learned from her, where is her real interest? What is it that she really enjoys?
Being with her family, because what she did talk about a lot was her brother and her son and her nephew.
Okay. All right.
And they love that, and they love their doggy.
Okay. All right. We'll work with that. Let's see. Who else had an interesting person that you got to meet? We're going to come back to Amy and Jenny soon enough.
I can tell you all about Amy.
Oh, good. All right. So let's go. Mark, give us the tea, as they say.
So this is her first country house. They've been in there 7 years. She likes the peace and quiet. Her husband is an engineer. She is a new business owner, which has been going awesome, and she loves it. She comes from a project management background. She was working her corporate job while starting the new business for a while. The thing that they love to do, they have a fifth wheel and they go camping a lot of weekends with her 2 kids because her oldest doesn't always come with them. And I would say, and she has a 75-gallon fish tank that has to be moved to replace her floors.
Oh, goodness.
So I would say camping is probably where she spends her time and money.
Where's that, camping?
Yes. If I had to.
All right, so we'll work on that one. Okay. Who else? Who found out something that you're like really shocked at? Oh my gosh, I never knew.
Hey, Arlen, I'll share. I got to this is Nate from Chattanooga. I got to work with the wonderful Nikki from Panama City Beach. Kind of a really cool, interesting fact to share with you. She is a huge Billy Strings fan. She's actually seen them 32 times in the last 18 months. So pretty killer music is really her and her husband's no pun intended jam. They really enjoy just music in general. And she's lived in Tennessee, in Jackson, Tennessee, which is Western Tennessee, Pennsylvania, and then obviously now lives in Panama City. And but like I said, music is what she loves to spend her music on, and really just especially Billy Strings. Anything Billy Strings, Nikki is all over.
I love it. I love it. Nate, do you remember here? What has it been? A couple of months ago, the Cleveland group had a big powwow, and
yes,
there were several of us that went up to Cleveland and whatever else, right? So
yeah,
as I'm and I walked it because it wasn't, but I don't know, mile and a half. I walked from the hotel to where we had this little dinner cruise on the boat thing, whatever, right? But I had to walk past this big crowd of people to get there because there was a Billy Strings concert right there.
Nikki would be all over it. I assure you.
She would have skipped the boat and she would have gone straight to the concert.
I totally knew that was happening when you were there, Arlen, because I was following. I know exactly where Billy Strings is at all times.
At all times. I mean, I'm not a stalker, but I know where he is.
Well, I follow him on Instagram, so I know his tour, and I know a lot of people that see a lot of shows. So
I love it.
I'm not going to see him again until New Year's Eve.
Oh, there you go. All right. So let's do one more. Who else has got somebody that you want to share a little bit about? Who feels like they just nailed this?
I'll talk about Eric.
All right.
All right, so Eric is from Allentown, Pennsylvania, and 100% made up everything I'm about to tell you. He is divorced, keeps to himself, does not know his neighbors that I did a recent flooring job with, the Smiths. He has 3 pit bulls, ages from 8 to 11, that live to about 13 or so. Doesn't know the specific ages of those, but had 2, 1 died, so he went out and got 2 more. He rescues these from a local small shelter. He likes to spend his time with his pit bulls going on hikes in nature. And so I would say that is where he spends the most of his time and interest. Didn't exactly get a lot of purchasing power out of that, but he also hunts, fishes. He likes to basically, and he does so because he trusts, the food that he gets for himself, rather doesn't know where cows grow up and where they're raised and what antibiotics and the like are in them. And so he also gardens, has a garden outside. And he and I agree in the fact that the best tomatoes that you can possibly eat are from your own garden. He also does snow peas, grows loofah, which apparently you can eat, as well as it's the original plant that the loofah is made from for showering and the like. But that loofah is now, mostly a plastic thing. So I probably left a few things out, but we got pretty down deep into it, and knows that he just needs to continually be on top of swapping out his carpets because his dogs tear him up a bunch.
All right, so this is like gold, okay? You may not see it yet, Blake, but you have uncovered some gold here, okay? This is absolutely fantastic. All right, so I want to shift. I'm gonna shift over to the tablet, but I'm gonna have this behind me so that I can reference these notes. And this, of course, is audience participation. This is exactly what we want to do here. All right, so let's get here, share this screen, managing all the screens. All right, so I've prepared a little estimate that we'll work with later. But I want to get to the company story. Now, my job slide. Okay, great. So let's say that Blake is going to present his company story to Eric. So you guys heard what I heard. He's in Allentown, PA, divorced, keeps to himself 3 pit bulls that were rescued. So keep that in mind. These are rescue dogs, okay? Loves hiking, nature, fishing, hunting, because he doesn't necessarily trust the food in the grocery store, but he knows that if he makes it, if he hunts it, if he fishes it, or if he gardens it, he knows what's in it. Okay. So we're gonna sort of key in on those things. So I want you to think about the company story for just a second. We got the my job slide, we've got a promise slide, we've got a service slide, we got the map slide. 4.8 out of 5 stars, which is already out of date because we're at 4.9. That's okay. We got the Better Business Bureau slide, how we earn our stars, a trusted source, the installation process. Then, of course, you got the installation video that I'm going to swipe past real quick. We've got the choose slide, the manufacturer direct, the versus. We just make it easy. We're not happy until you're happy, and then let's build it. So I want to key in on a couple of these things that were brought out. We've got rescue dogs, and we've got somebody that hunts and fishes, not necessarily for the entertainment value, maybe some, but because of the food quality value. So where could you pull that information into this company story? Where could you take one of those things? Go ahead, Amy.
I would key on the trusted slide. So all the talks we talk about how we tell that we're honest and we are going to be completely upfront with you and that we're licensed. This one, yeah.
Okay. So Amy, pitch this slide to Eric, but pitch it to Eric in a way that this only works for Eric. In other words, you're going to personalize this slide based on what we've heard about Eric. You're going to personalize this slide specifically to Eric.
So I would tell him that,
No.
one of the reasons.
Tell him, actually do it.
Oh, are you Erickson? I don't know who Eric is. Hi, Eric. There you go. All right. So, Floor Coverings International and our team wants to be your trusted source for your flooring. We are licensed and insured. We absolutely will make sure any person who comes in your house carries all of the proper licensing and insured. And we also go a step beyond and make sure that we are fully trained in what should be happening here. And every installer we bring is fully trained and is up to date on everything that should be taking place and will be taking place. We will make sure that you get everything that you need, and we will share any of this information with you that you want to see. I will pull it right now from my laptop and show you our licensing and our insurance. And we can make sure that you actually get everything that you need, and you don't have to just take my word for it. I will share it with you right now.
All right. So Eric, as the customer, how does that feel?
To be completely honest, it feels like I'm being sold.
Okay. All right, that's good. Let's have the feedback. Okay.
So more specifically, you know, I like to hunt because I trust my own work, you know, so it's not so much about I don't trust that the people are licensed. It's more about that, you know, I want to be able to hands-on see what's going on, you know, things like that, so that I know that the work's being done properly. I don't trust other people's word, and I don't think that was really addressed.
Okay. All right, good. So now let's rework this. How can we pitch? It doesn't have to be this slide, but I want to take Eric's concern. Look, I don't trust what other people tell me. I don't trust what other people are going to do. What is there a slide that we can address that
Your business
concern?
bureau.
All right, Nate, knock it out of the park.
All right. So, you know, Eric, a couple of things I'll tell you. I know you said that you love to hunt fish. Obviously, you like to be able to have control, you know, of what's going on in your body. You want to know the quality, you know, and things like that. And really, you know, one of the things that I want to share with you is when you think about the home improvement industry as a whole, it's rife with, you know, with bad actors and complaints. And you know, if you look historically, 80% of the complaints come from folks that, you know, went through, used the lowest bid, you know, and then ultimately either couldn't get the work done or it wasn't done properly or things like that. Obviously, you're somebody that wants to be able to know the work is done properly, and you want to be able to understand what's being done, so you have the confidence that we're going to do it the right way. And you know, if you think about, you know, locally, we have 4.9 stars out of 5. We take a lot of pride in really making sure that, you know, your experience is something that's different from the other competitors that are going to come give you a quote.
Good.
How
All
was
right.
that?
So Eric, how'd that one
So-
hit you?
That one hit me a lot better. And I think the one thing I do want to point out, the first one, there was a lot of, you know, this is what we can do. We can bring this up. We can show this to you. Whereas the second one was a lot more, you know, we want you to feel, we want you to, you know, it's more about me as opposed to what you can do for me.
And that's what I'm trying to get to, right? That's exactly what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get to where this is not, I'm not just taking my information and twisting it, but I'm actually changing what I'm saying. I'm changing this so that this is about Eric, right? This is uniquely about Eric. So Blake, you're the one that did the warm up with Eric. Pick a slide and show me how you would pitch this specifically to Eric.
I would go with installation. Right. And so, you know, Eric, you know, we talked about how it's important for you, right, to make your decision, make your own decisions. You go out and, you know, hunt and create your own food because, you know, you trust in, you know, the decisions you make and the things that you do, and you trust what you can look at, and feel and touch. Just like you, Eric, you know, I've created my own local business as part of Full Coverings International, right? And I personally go out and vet my own installers, right? I want to make sure that the people that are coming into my customers' houses, into your house, are personally vetted by me so that I know I can trust that they're going to do the right job and teach you with respect while they're in your home.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it, right? So you're not telling Eric how he should feel, but you're making a comparison. You're saying, look, Eric, I get it. I don't trust people either, which is why I do my own vetting. I love it, right? So now you've made a parallel between what his concerns are and what your concerns are. That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Now, Blake, you might be able to use something like that with somebody else, but the reality is it's going to feel different when you use it with somebody else, because it will be different. All right, good. I love it. All right, so let's see. Amy, you had the opportunity to talk to Jenny. Okay. And there was one of the things that you brought up. I'm just going to refer back to my notes. So she moved from Chicago to Arizona. Son, nephew, brother, the son and nephew are thick as thieves. They play video games. She worked at CarMax and really liked their system and really devoted to family. So is there one particular element about what you learned about with Jenny that you could use to really make this company story personal?
So I would go to the the slide about the versus, so our system versus theirs, because one of the hallmarks of the CarMax system, at least how I know it, is that it's very straightforward. This is what it is. There's not a big argument. There's not all these little fees hidden somewhere. It is absolutely, this is what it is.
Perfect. All right, so do it.
So Jenny, one of the things that I wanted to share with you, like CarMax, we are very straightforward. There is no hidden charges, no hidden fees, no argument over whether or not we walked up 3 stairs or 4 stairs. The price we give you today is absolutely the price you will pay, barring any unforeseen circumstances that we absolutely cannot contend for, similar to if you had a car that came in from CarMax and the inspection wasn't able to catch something, we would have no changes in our price. The scope is set, the pricing is set, and the job will get taken care of exactly how we said it was going to be without any hidden charges. We're not going to come back later and say, oh, that couch, I thought it only weighed 50 pounds. It actually weighed 75, so that's an extra $50. Oh, you actually have 4 stairs instead of 3. That's an extra $50. We absolutely will give you 100% transparent pricing today that your entire scope of work is going to be taken care of for this price.
All right, so Jenny, how does that feel to you?
That's totally parallel to that. So for me, if I was the customer in that situation, I would be able to kind of connect those two to see what's important to me and how it's being provided to me. So that's great.
Okay. All right, other people on the call, what feedback would you give to Amy to maybe make it better?
Amy, you said the same thing 3 times.
Blake, that is the feedback I've gotten my entire life. I'm working on it still, 47 years later. Nice.
Yeah, a lot of the time I also find myself during this presentation kind of like rambling and start spiraling and hope that I get where I'm going eventually. But like Blake said, I think it's just trying to be cognizant of what you're saying and understand that you said it already.
So Arlen, I know this doesn't apply to everybody, but I will ask a very blunt question because the way Tyler explained it, that is what happens to some people. I honestly just repeat myself constantly. And if I stop to think about not repeating myself, then I become robotic. So how would you recommend that somebody branch that between making sure I'm cognizant that I've repeated myself and not become robotic because I'm trying to keep track of whether I said that word already or that statement?
So I will, not to pile on, but I will echo the sentiment. It was wordy, right? All right, so instead of worrying, did I say the same word already? Instead of worrying, am I repeating myself? Just think about, am I starting to get wordy? You said really, really good stuff. But you did, you said it multiple times. Okay, so how do you move your way through? And in this particular setting where we're practicing one slide, it's easy to do because you feel like, well, wait a minute, if I only speak for 10 seconds, it's not enough. Well, it can be enough, right? It absolutely can be enough, and then move on to the next slide. You know, okay. Jenny, you mentioned earlier that you really love the CarMax system because there's not a lot of hidden fees and not a lot of hidden fluff, and it's just very easy to work with. And at Floor Coverings International, we don't have a lot of hidden fees either. Boom, move to the next one, right? It could be that simple. So don't feel like you have to fill 3 minutes on a slide. You don't. You're literally, it's a 10 or 15 second operation to move on.
So you have a maximum amount of minutes that you're supposed to spend on this. Is there a minimum?
So here's the thing, you can take a long time to do the company story, but if you're interesting, people will give it to you. If you're long and boring, that's the worst possible case. If you're short and interesting, that's the sweet spot. So I would say the company story probably should be 8 to 10 minutes. You might get away with doing it in 6 or 7 and feel like you've gotten most of the information that you want. But if you're moving over 10 minutes, you're losing people. 12 is like a max. The only valid reason to go over 12 is if the customer is like interacting with you and interacting with every slide, and they're butting in and giving you feedback. Oh yeah, I hate that. I was at Home Depot and man, I saw that. Okay, so now it's not you talking for 12 minutes, but somebody else is interrupting you and talking. But I would say that a sweet spot is going to be somewhere in the 8 to 10 range, and that's going to vary depending on the customer and what you've got to work with. All right, good. Let's do another one. Mark, you got some really good information here about Amy. I want you to pick a slide and present the slide to Amy in only a way that Amy would understand it.
All right, I'm going to use the our promise slide in the towards the very beginning. So, Amy, our promise to you is to provide you with the best flooring experience in North America. I know that you're starting a small business yourself. We are a small local business, part of a larger franchise. But one of the big things for us is to provide you with the best possible experience so that you will refer your friends and family and have you can go away on your camping trip for a couple days while we do the floor and enjoy yourself camping, and we'll take care of the installation process for you.
All right, so Amy, how does that hit you?
I like it, but it doesn't hit me as something that's unique to me. I would think that everybody would want to hear that. So I like that he threw my camping trip in there, but your installers probably don't want to be installing in my house when I'm camping. So because as soon as he said that, I'm like, am I taking an unplanned vacation? Because they're going to come on Saturday and Sunday because that's when I go camping.
So Mark, one of the pieces of feedback that I'll give you is you brought in that she started a small business and you brought in the camping. Mm-hmm. I probably wouldn't do both of those on the same slide. So remember, you got about 20 slides that you can work with, and you're not going to do this on every slide, but you are going to do this on 3 or 4 of them. So you're going to pick 2 or 3. By the way, this is what step three, when you're out at the van and you're pulling product, yeah, you're racking your brain trying to figure out what is the right product for this person. But this is also time for you to strategize which slides am I going to personalize. It's time for you to stop and really think about your strategy. How am I going to present to this customer? Amy said she started a new business. She said that, she's had a great time with it so far. She said that their trainer was absolutely wonderful and couldn't wait to be in class with him again. No, she didn't say that. She said that that there was camping and the kids and all this. Okay, great. I can't put all that on one slide. So where do I want to put this? Where do I want to put this? Where do I want to put this? And then you pick 3 or 4 slides and say, okay, on this slide, I'm going to hit this point. On this slide, I'm going to hit this point. On this slide, I'm going to hit this point. Okay. So think through this again. Let's strategize this. Pick a slide, pick one thing about Amy, and let's see if we can put these two together.
I'm doing this right now.
Yes, you are.
Okay. I guess I'll just stay on the same slide and just bring up the small that she's starting her own business.
Okay. All right.
So Amy, our promise to you is to provide you with the best flooring experience possible. Just like you're starting your own business and said that you want to take care of your customers, that's what we're going to do for you.
Better, honestly, better.
I feel like it's still generic.
It's short, it's sweet. Now I just got to get you excited about it because it feels very flat. Okay, so now we got to get you a little bit excited about it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Let's see, last one. So we had, all right, this one should be just absolutely easy. Nate, you got to pick a slide and pitch Nikki. I know you got nothing. She has no interest whatsoever. There's nothing she likes. There's nothing, you know, you got to pick a slide.
All right. Let's go with the let's just go back to the Better Business Bureau one. That or the promise slide. Either one, or how we earn our stars, I guess. Either one.
Oh, you want stars? Let's do stars.
Yeah, let's do stars. A little bit something different. So well, cool. Well, Nikki, it's obviously it's been a great experience, you know, sitting here talking to you. A couple of things that, you know, I really want to share with you just to kind of land, you know, how we differentiate ourselves. First and foremost, you know, obviously we've got the mobile showroom. We bring all the samples to you. Another thing, Nikki, I'll tell you too, is, you know, we're a local team. We're locally owned and operated. I'm going to promise to you as well that the communication is going to be on point. We're going to keep you up to date throughout the entire process. I know you just moved into your house, you know, here in Panama City, but we're going to make sure that we really make it a seamless service experience all the way through. And then, Nikki, the last thing really that I want to land with you is I take customer satisfaction extremely seriously, as does the whole company. We're going to do a final walk when we're done with everything. I'm going to make sure that everything that we picked out that you love is installed properly and to your satisfaction. And simply put, we don't get the final payment until I know that you are absolutely satisfied with your experience and the installation that we did. So, Nikki, how does that sound to you today?
That sounds like you're a lot different than anyone else I've talked to. I've been, as I told you, I've been managing my home as the project coordinator for my home forever as a stay-at-home mom. And that sounds like you got it. You got all the points covered for me. I feel very confident.
Well, I'm super excited to be able to have the opportunity to help you out. And I know that not only, you know, we're going to be able to help you on this, but, you know, hopefully we'll be able to help you in the future too, as you continue to expand your beach enterprise and everything that goes with it.
All right. Thank you, Nate.
So, Nikki, how does that feel to you?
Impressive.
What's everybody else say? How did that feel?
It felt much more interactive.
Felt
Wasn't it
sincere.
personal? Yeah, since I didn't know, you know, since obviously I can't really hit, you know, I don't know all the personal stuff. It to me anyways, even as me pitching it, it can come off.
But you do.
Yeah.
You know all about Billy strings, you know everything, right?
I
You got all this
misunderstood you. I
stuff to
thought
work
you
with.
said, yeah, I misunderstood you. I think where I was thinking you said that I didn't really know much about her at all and try to pitch it.
That was a little sarcastic because you know everything about her. All right. So here's the thing. All right. So what you presented, there's a couple of points that I want to make for the whole group. What you presented was very accurate. It was factual. It came from the heart. It was passionate. I love it. Right. On this slide, I don't want you to feel like you have to hit every bullet on this slide. Right. That first of all, she already knows you got a mobile showroom. She can see it parked outside. Right. So normally, what I would suggest is maybe you pick 2 of these that you think are going to land, and those are the 2 that you talk about. She can read the slide, so there's no reason to read it for them, right? And this is, I mean, for any customer, right? So it's not about, I've got to hit all 5 of these things. It's here's the 2 or 3 that are going to make a difference.
Yeah.
The other thing I would
I'll tell you this, and for Amy as well, you kind of hit something that resonated with me. You know, when I'm, especially if it gets to where it like, I feel like it like maybe it's kind of getting clunky or I overthink things. I tend to become more robotic, kind of like Amy was talking about. And I think you're exactly right, Arlen. Going through and reading each of these is not, you know, they know a lot of this stuff. It's just how can we pick a couple of key points? So I think you're spot on.
Pick a couple of things, look, and make it fun, right? You don't have to read to people. Like, okay, how do you choose? Well, I had 4 quotes from different companies. No, I'm not going to read that to them. You know, we're manufacturer. Yeah, okay, we're manufacturer direct. What do you want the customer to hear on this slide? you know, I've seen people that read off each one of these things under the competitor's pricing. And it's a little bit, you know, it's a little bit difficult for the customer to, I love the new back half of this company story because it's so much cleaner. Nobody really is going to read the stuff that's in the quotes. Just let the customer read it, right? All right, but I want to take and have some fun with Nikki. Pick a slide that you can really have some fun with. And you know, look, we have to bring Billy Strings into this. You have to.
Let's see here. Let's yeah, let's just say you're right here. Let's go on this one right here, the 400,000
All right.
customers. So all right, so Nikki, obviously I know just from the short time I've been here talking to you, you have a love for Billy Strings, and don't quote me on this, but I think you said what 32 times in the last 18 months. Is that correct?
That's
Well,
correct.
so here, just to kind of sounds like Billy Strings is across the entire United States as well. So just to share a little bit about our company. So there's we have over 400,000 customers, and we're actually, it says 200 here. We're actually nearing 250 locations across North America. You know, so it just as Billy String, you know, travels across the entire United States, our franchise is across the entire United States. And you tie that in with a 4.9 out of 5 or 4.8 out of 5 Google rating. I think it just really puts into perspective the quality of work that we provide, similar as the quality of concert Billy Strings provides when you go to all the 32 shows over 18 months.
All right, Nikki, now how does that feel compared to the other one?
It's making me smile.
There you go. All right. That's it.
And by the way, I told him other interesting things about me.
That's okay.
She did, but I don't know if you can top 32 Billy String shows in 18
That's
months.
it.
So
Yeah,
it's
I've
just
never seen anybody but Bob Dylan multiple times like that. You know, I've probably seen Bob Dylan over a dozen times, but that's it. Like he blew me away from the first concert. I was like, oh my gosh, this kid is amazing.
I love it. I love it. All right. So here's the thing. You find gold like that. You find somebody that has a deep passion for something that has to come out in the company story. It has to. Now, why do you think it's so important for us to do this? Why is it important for Nate to talk about Billy Strings when he's talking to Nikki? Why does it matter?
the line she said that it makes her smile. I think that right there really sums up the answer without really giving an answer.
That's it.
Well, it shows that he was listening to me as a customer, and he can, I mean, it's always helpful when you can personalize your sales message to their needs and their desires.
100%. 100%. You guys are nailing it. Okay. So we've made it around. It's almost 1:30. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm getting hungry. So let's do this. We are going to we're going to do a lunch break. My clock says that it's 1:25. Why don't we come back at 2:15? So you've got a little over 45 minutes. We'll come back at 2:15. Go grab something to eat, and I'll see you guys back. Once again, when we come back at 2:15. You're immediately going into breakout rooms. So be punctual on the way back in. That'll be most appreciated by me and by the person that you're working with. And with that, I'll see you guys in about 48 minutes. As promised, we are going to jump directly into breakout rooms, but I need to do some combinations here. I'll let you guys know. So those of you that were with Jenny Carter and Dan Voss, both of them have appointments that they're running this afternoon. So they're going to go land some sales. And I specifically want to make some combinations so that we have like small groups instead of just a pair. So in this next exercise, what you guys are going to do is you're going to take the information that you learned from the warm-up, and I want you to strategize what would it look like to pitch 3 slides. They don't have to be 3 consecutive slides, but how would you pitch 3 slides in the company story specifically to your customer? Okay, so for example, I know Jeremy and Patrick were together. I used them as an example before. So Jeremy might pick, I'm going to use the map slide, I'm going to use the Better Business Bureau slide, and I'm going to use the we're not happy until you're happy slide, whatever. So we're going to pick those 3 slides, and then Jeremy is going to strategize. This is how I would pitch these slides that are very, very personal to Patrick, and it uses the information that Patrick gave him in the warm-up. Now, for the other people that are in the room, give really, really hard feedback. I mean, don't be like ugly with each other, but this is the time for you guys to really be able to open up and give people solid feedback on helping each other get better at this. Because this is not, it doesn't come natural. Nobody just does this. So you really do have to work on it, okay? So I'm gonna make some combinations of the rooms. While I'm doing that, any questions about what we're about to do here?
Arlen, it basically just taking the information that we know about our customer and then picking 3 slides essentially and strategizing how we correlate around those slides, right?
And then actually pitch them. Yep.
We're not doing like the full company story though, just like picking.
Nope. You're not doing the whole company story. You're really just picking maybe three slides, and you're gonna personalize those. And again, they don't have to be consecutive slides, right? Pick 3 different slides somewhere in the company story, personalize them, pitch the slide. So actually do it, and then let the other people in the group give you guys feedback. Now, like I've said before, feedback like, oh, you did a great job. That's fun to hear, but it doesn't make you any better. So what I'd rather you guys do is really give each other some honest, some tough feedback. This is a time for tough love. It's the time to be able to tell somebody, hey, this is wordy, this didn't come across well, this came across great, whatever, but be really, really open with one another. And like before, if you need help, if you need somebody to jump in, please, by all means, hit the I need help button and I'll be right there. So I've got the rooms combined. I want to make sure that everybody in the group has the opportunity to strategize, to pitch 3 slides, and to get feedback. So I'm going to give you guys about 30 minutes in these rooms. If it feels like you get into it and you feel like that's too much time, let me know. Or you feel like, no, we need more time, let me know that as well, and we can make some adjustments. But I think I've got groups of about 4 people, and for everybody to have an opportunity to really strategize, to really do it, get some feedback, maybe even do it again. It feels like 30 minutes is probably about the right amount of time. So off you guys go and reach out as you need to. And let's see, I need Nikki.
Darren had to go.
Yep, who were you with, Nikki?
I was with Nate.
All right, and Nate is now in room. All right, so feedback from that. What did you guys pick up? What did you like? What did you not like?
I talk a little bit too much. I try to add in a few extra tidbits.
Okay. Just tightening things up. Good. What else?
We didn't have enough time.
I know that's right. Yep.
Take responsibility for that.
Go ahead, Blake.
Transitions are very important, and especially challenging when you're going from one slide that doesn't follow, the next.
Sure.
But
yeah, if you don't do consecutive slides, right?
But it just emphasizes that, like, okay, but if we know know what's coming next, we're gonna be able to smooth that out much better.
Nice. What else?
I feel I think our group we all did pretty good at listening in the initial discussions and intermixing the personal aspects of the person and what they're looking for into the slides. The transitioning spot on, Blake, is where we need to be more cognizant, at least myself, of transitioning from one to the other and not trying to use like filler words. Like I find myself saying, well, I'm trying to think of the next thing to say. So being more fluid.
Nice. I like it. You'll find words that you say, you don't even realize that you're saying it. I'm in the corporate office this week. We had a big a corporate team meeting all day yesterday and all day today. And listening to Tom Wood present, I realized he says the word essentially over and over and over again. That's his word. So now I'm going to call him on it, and we're going to make like essentially bingo and see how many times he says the word. But when you don't know it, you don't realize it, right?
Right.
Better than I don't like
Good. What else did you guys pick up on?
I think while we were talking, and Aaron mentioned that we were all being a little wordy, I would add, what's the message that we're trying to relay versus just throwing out words. Where Jeff said we could deliver these things much faster. Yeah, what is it actually that we're trying to say?
I love it. Good.
I think that it's, for me, I got more concentrating on what I'm going to bridge to that slide that I lost the whole meaning of the slide. Because you're like, okay, I'm going to tie in moving to Raleigh and not knowing anybody, and then I was like, okay, but what am I talking about?
Okay,
what am I trying to convey with the slide?
But you know what, Eric? Sometimes I think it's actually more important to bring in the customer piece than anything that's on the slide. Because you've got so many other slides that, yeah, you're talking about the company. If you happen to hit a slide and you really nail the customer piece, and you're like, well, wait a minute, but I never said anything about, whatever. I never said anything about 80% of the customers that take the lowest bid have a hard time getting their job done. I never said that. You know what? It says 80% right there on the slide. You probably okay to just focus on the customer piece.
Good to know.
Good. How about one more?
One of the things, maybe Arlen, you can give us feedback, pro or con on this, but feels to me like there's a couple of slides in this deck where I wouldn't even try to attach a customer story to it. It's like, let it stand alone, get away from it. And then if that's true, then I've identified maybe 10 that are my go-to, just like carpet samples, wood samples. Those are my go-to ones.
So I will tell you that you can personalize any slide in the deck, but I will also tell you that you're going to have a handful that you feel more comfortable doing it on, and stick with that handful. So maybe out of the whole deck, you have 10 slides that you're like, I really know how to customize these slides. Well, then just do it on those slides. That's okay.
Could I actually add a little to that?
Sure.
I think if you guys are up for the challenge, instead, when you're practicing yourself, instead of doing, talking to someone, getting their story, and then picking 3 slides that you would like to personalize, have them give you a slide, and then you try to personalize it on the spot as is. And that'll kind of get you to, because in an in-home consultation, you don't have the time to strategize to think of 3 slides. You just, it's constantly moving. And so you need a little bit of training to be able to do it on the spot and be able to be flexible and do it with any slide. And I think that might be, a challenge and helpful training.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, except you do have time to strategize. That's when you go out to the van to pick product, that is time to think, okay, where am I going to put these? I don't mean you have 20 minutes, but you do have a couple of minutes where you're at the van that you can think, okay, I really want to bring in this. I want to bring in this. I want to bring in this. What slides am I going to hit that on? That's part of step 3 is taking that time to strategize. But you're right. And actually, that's one of the drills that I used to do with my DAs is I would pick a customer, right? I'd make up a customer. So this is my occupation. This is my hobby. These are my interests. And I want you to personalize this slide. Go. But they'd have to do it quickly. And it was just a way of making them think quickly on their feet, on the tip of their toes, so to speak. And you can do it on any slide, but it's also okay to say, you know what, these are my 10 slides that I tend to personalize.
Yep.
I was gonna say, Arlen, I says, you know what we all need is an improv class.
That's right. Yep.
I mean,
You're not
seriously,
wrong. You are not
actually
wrong.
here in Raleigh, they have a troupe where everybody gets on and they do improv. And I mean, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. And then all of a sudden I found out that they do classes. And so now with working at FCI, I'm thinking I'm going to go and take them up on the classes, because you have to think of these things to say. And that is on the fly.
It is,
There you go.
absolutely.
Everybody local, find an improv troupe.
I love it. All right. What do you think? Can we add another layer? Let's add another layer. Let's take this one level deeper. Let's just go one level deeper. Come on, board, catch up. All right, so in step one, when we're in the warm-up, you had an opportunity to learn all about the customer. You had an opportunity to learn about their favorite hobbies, where they spend their time and their money, the name of the dog, the name of the cat, whatever it is, right? You had a chance to learn all about that. But as you move from step one to step two, as you move from the warm-up and you move into the space, we ask those pesky transition questions, because we're trying to figure out what is the BS reason that this customer is going to give me for not buying from me. Well, I got to get other estimates, or I got a fence I got to move, or I've got a car that won't start, or whatever it is. This is some BS reason that they're going to try to throw at me later, and I want to know it early. But if I get that objection when I ask the transition questions, if I get that objection, but I don't actually do anything with it, then what was the point of getting it? So now let's talk about what to do with it. Okay. So for the sake of argument, because 90% of the time it's going to be other estimates or other quotes or other bids or whatever, let's just say that I asked the transition question. So how long have you been thinking about replacing your floor? Oh, I don't know, 6 months. Well, what made you decide to do it today? Oh, I'm not doing it today. I always get 3 estimates. You're the second one in. Okay, great. Let's take a look at the space together. So my objection is other estimates. Okay, can I tell the customer, don't bother, you don't need any other estimates? Can I tell the customer, you are not allowed to get other estimates? Sorry, it's not allowed. Foul, red card, yellow card. Nope, you can't do that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, if the customer is our family.
I love it. Okay, so the reality is I can't tell them not to get them, but I can drop little hints about why, whatever the objection is, why that really doesn't impact our time together. So I'm going to show you a strategy. It's called understand, alter, and convert. I know some sales systems talk about overcoming objections. Well, overcoming objections sounds like, I don't know, I'm a sumo fighter and I'm going to overcome somebody with, I'm going to push this estimate objection out of the way. And that's not what we're trying to do. The first thing I want to do is I want the customer to know, I want to communicate to the customer that, first of all, I understand your objection. I understand what you're saying, right? It's just an acknowledgement. It doesn't mean I agree with it. It's just I understand. And again, I'm going to use other estimates because 90% of the time that's what it's going to be anyway. I understand that you're looking at getting other estimates. I understand that. Okay, good. But I want to alter this objection. So I want to change this objection. I want to alter this objection into something that I can control. So I can't control whether they get other estimates. What can I control? What do I have ultimate control over?
You.
How they feel about your estimate.
All right, but what is it, Amy, about how they feel about my estimate?
They got to feel like it's truthful, it's complete, and it's going to be their best
Okay.
option.
Okay. The one thing I can control
is you. Yeah. That's what I kept saying, Nikki. It's just like, I mean, like you can control you.
Yeah, but I can control my price,
Oh, okay.
right? I have 3,000 samples in a mobile showroom. I can pick a different sample. We can change the scope. I can, you can take the furniture in or out or whatever. I have absolute control over my price. Now you'll notice I'm not telling you to change margin. This is not about playing with margin. Okay, as the trainer, I consider that out of bounds. Not for you, but for me. It doesn't make any sense for me to tell you, okay, we'll just drop your margin. Okay, that's great, but that's not really training you how to sell. That's just training you how to move a dot on the tablet. So how can I take a customer's objection? Let's say it was other estimates. And how can I show them that really what this is a price objection? Now, why do I want to convert this to a price objection?
That's really what they want to know.
Well, because I can control the price, right? I can do something about that. I can't do something about them doing other estimates, but I absolutely can control my price. So let me show you how this works. I'm just going to give you sort of a simple formula for how to do this, okay? So you pick a slide in the company story, and just like personalizing the company story, you can do this on any slide, but you're going to find that there's some slides that it's easier to do just because of your personality or the slides that really speak to you better, and that's fine. But you can do it on any slide.
Hold on.
So let's just say I'll pick the 4.8 out of 5-star slide. Okay, that's one of the easiest ones to do this on. So I'm going to open with, I understand and again, you don't have to use that word. This isn't word for word. This is very much on the fly. You might not say, I understand. You might say, earlier today, when I first came in, you told me that you were getting other estimates. I understand that. A lot of my customers talk about getting other estimates. Okay, good, right? The first piece of it is just an acknowledgement, okay? A lot of times customers tell you that, oh, I'm getting other estimates, and they feel like they've got this leg up on you because, oh, I'm getting other estimates. There's nothing you can do. It puts me at a disadvantage. I'm not at a disadvantage. Actually, I'm at an advantage because you told me that. All right, so I just want to acknowledge, I understand that you are looking at getting other estimates. And quite frankly, a lot of times when I go into people's homes, customers tell me all the time that they're looking at getting other estimates. Now, I'm just gonna, that's one bookend, okay? So this is one bookend. I understand that this is what you're looking at doing. Now I'm gonna pitch the slide. Okay. So I understand, Eric, you told me earlier that you were wanting to get other estimates. And frankly, I have a lot of customers that when I first come in the home, they tell me that they want to go get other estimates. Floor Coverings International, we've got a 4.8 out of 5-star customer rating. And that's really not easy to do in this industry. Flooring, we're doing construction inside people's homes. And at the end of the day, people are so impressed with the work that they do. They go online, they give us these great reviews, and we are the highest rated flooring company in North America. Okay, good. I've pitched the slide, right? So the first piece is just understanding the customer. The second piece, I'm going to pitch the slide. And now the third piece, and this is where the other bookend comes in, and it's really important to wrap this up with a nice bow, okay? I'm going to convert this somehow or another. I'm going to convert this to where we're talking about dollars. And the way that I like to convert it is I'll say something along the lines of, and you know, most of my customers, when they realize that we've got such a high customer rating, they actually skip getting those other estimates and they choose to go with Floor Coverings International as long as we can get the price right. Okay, so this is not word for word, but I'll talk about those other customers.
Arlen, is this kind of an iteration of like the Phil found method?
A little bit, it is. Okay, they'll skip those estimates and choose Floor Coverings International. Why? As long as what? As long as we can get the price right. Okay, now, if the customer told me in the warm-up, if the customer used the word budget, then I want to use the word budget. If the customer told me they wanted to get the right price, then I'm going to use the word price. If I can repeat the same language to the customer, that's even better. Okay, so let's just say, I'm going to work this through with you. Let's just say that the customer told me that they were going to get other estimates because they needed to make sure that it was in the budget. All right, I'm going to stay on the same slide. So, you know, Nate, earlier when I first came in, you told me that you were looking at getting other estimates. And frankly, to be honest, almost everybody that I come into to walk into their house and give them an estimate, most of the time they're looking at getting other estimates. Now, you may not know this, but Floor Coverings International, we've got a 4.8 out of 5-star rating across all social media. And that's really impressive in this industry. I mean, we're doing construction inside people's homes and people still go out and write great reviews for us and they give us these high ratings. And you know, what I find is really interesting is once, you know, a lot of my other customers, once they find out that we've got that high of a customer rating, oftentimes they'll skip getting those other estimates and they'll just choose Floor Coverings International as long as we can make the project fit in their budget. Okay, so what have I done? This is the framework. This is the formula. It's not word for word, but this is the formula. I want to start by understanding what the customer said. I want to pitch the slide, whatever slide it is. Now the 4.8 of 5 works really good for this, but it could be any slide. I want to pitch the slide, and then I'm going to tie it back to that original objection. I'm getting other estimates, great. When other customers, so what am I doing? I'm giving the customer permission to do what other people do. Good. So when other customers, they skip getting those other estimates, as long as, and if the customer used the word budget, I'm going to use the word budget. As long as we can get the budget. Okay. What's important with this is the last thing I want to say on this slide is money. So I've understood, I've pitched the slide, I've converted it, and I want to wrap the bow that I want to put on this present is the last thing I want them to hear before I go to the next slide is as long as we can get the money right, as long as we can get the budget right, as long as we can get the price right, as long as it's not too many Benjamins. I don't care what language, if the customer said something, then I want to use that. If not, use what's comfortable for you. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to pick 2, at most 3 slides in the company story that I'm going to do this with. And if I'm going to do it twice or 3 times, I'm going to have to reword it each time so that it doesn't feel like I'm just repeating myself. But I want the customer to hear a couple of times, okay? And by the way, you can do this. It doesn't have to be in the company story. You can do this when you're presenting product, right? You can absolutely do this when you're presenting product. You might be showing the customer like a lifeguard carpet, wonderful, wonderful stuff, you know? And you might tell the customer, hey, you know, I know earlier you were talking about getting other estimates. A lot of times when customers see just how high quality this carpet is, and that, you know, a dog accident is not going to go through and really get into the carpet pad and horrify the subfloor. You know, a lot of times they skip those other estimates and they just choose us as long as we can get it in the budget. All right, so it doesn't have to be in the company story. It's just, this is where we practice it because this is where it comes the most natural. But you can do it in other places.
Does that like send us down the path of competing on price versus other things?
No, it doesn't. I'm not setting myself up to be the cheapest price. I'm never telling the customer that I'm the cheapest price. In fact, down the road, we're going to talk about how you price condition, and I'm going to tell the customer that I'm going to be more expensive. So it's not about telling the customer that I'm going to be the cheapest. I'm just telling the customer that as long as we can get the price right, other customers have decided not to go to other estimates or whatever the objection happened to be. I like to use other estimates just because it's the one you're going to hear the most. But you're not telling the customer we're going to be the cheapest. You're telling the customer that, hey, you're probably not going to need other estimates because of these reasons, as long as we can make the price comfortable for you. So let's take a slide. I'd like for a couple of you to do this in the big group. Let's take a slide and practice this. Get back over here. So who would like to give this a shot? Be brave. All right, so let's get Eric Gibbs and put him on the hot seat.
Man, I knew you were going to do that.
Let's go. You know what it is. If you don't volunteer, you get voluntold. So
that's cool. No, I'm down. All right, so
I'll pick a slide, any slide. Pick your
I'll do the
favorite
stars.
slide.
Yeah, let's do the stars.
Okay, good. All right, so Eric, my objection is that I'm getting other estimates. Okay. And to me, the most important thing that I'm listening for is I'm listening for whether or not at the end of your whatever you're going to say, that you really wrap it with a bow around the money, right?
Okay.
All right, knock it out of the park.
Hey, Arlen, you know, I know and I understand that you're looking for other estimates. And I don't know if you know this or not, but we are a 4.8 out of 5 stars, you know, across all social media, which is really rough to do, especially in our business when we're actually doing construction in people's homes. And oh God, I just went totally blank. I went totally blank, Arlen. I'm sorry, man.
That's good. Work through it. That's why we do this.
And I know, and you know, and a lot of my customers, when they are so impressed by our customer service that they skip getting other estimates as long as we can get the money correct.
Bingo. That's it, right? You got it. This isn't complicated. It adds another layer. It's something else to think about, right? But it's not complicated, and I don't want to overcomplicate it. All right, somebody else, pick a slide and let's see what we can do here. Tyler wants to do it. I can see it on his face, but he doesn't want to be the one that says, "Oh, I'll do it." All right, Tyler, let's go.
Let's do the choices slide.
All right. Let's go.
So we both know that you have choices out there. You can go with your local handyman or your big box store. But a lot of the time you'll you'll find yourself working with someone that might not be the best person for that job. So you go to the big box store, you're working with someone in flooring, but that might not be their normal station. They could be covering for someone's vacation. They were working in paint all last week. They're going to do their best to give you the solutions to your problems, but unfortunately, they might just not be the right person to do that. And I understand that you're looking to get other estimates, but we find a lot of our customers returning to us saying that after they've received multiple estimates, they choose us because they feel like we present the best value.
Okay, you're 90% of the way there. All right, you're 90% of the way there. So you said once other customers go and get those other estimates, then they come back to us. Well, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to prevent the customer from actually going and doing that, right? So it sounds like you're saying, okay, here's the normal process. You get an estimate from us, you get an estimate from other people, and then come back to me. And what am I trying to do? I'm trying to get them to not do that, right? So you're really, really close, but let's work on that, the end of that, okay? So give it to me again, but you've gotten all of the, how do you choose, big box, whatever, and pick it up.
Sorry, 1 second. So I get, just real quick, I guess I'm just trying to figure out the verbiage on, I want to instill the same thing, but make it more pointed as like, don't waste your time getting more estimates.
Okay, so you can't tell, okay,
Yes.
you can't tell this customer, don't waste your time getting other estimates, right? But what
Correct.
you can say is a lot of my other customers choose not to waste any more time by getting other estimates. This is what they
we present the best value,
right? I'm not telling you you can't. I'm telling you that a lot of my other customers, they chose not to waste any more time getting other estimates and chose Floor Coverings International as long as we could get the price right.
Yeah, that's a much better way to spin it.
Okay. All right. So do it again. Try this one again.
I'll skip the first part and just get back.
All right.
And historically speaking, a lot of our customers just decide after they talk with us to not even worry about getting other estimates, and they just realize that we present the best value at the end of the day.
Okay. I still want to wrap it up like pointedly with the money. Okay.
Yeah.
I like the word value. I really do, but I really want to wrap this up with the money. So a lot of customers, once they understand this about the way the process works, they choose to not get those other estimates as long as we can get the price right.
Okay.
Okay. I just want to nail this right between I want to nail them right between the eyes with this. It's price, it's money, it's budget.
Yes.
Right. As long as we can get the price right.
Okay.
Good. Somebody else. Let's do one more together in the big group, and then we're going to split up into small groups again.
I'll give it a shot.
All right, Aaron.
I don't know what slide it is, but let's do the stars of flooring. Oh, I think that's one. Well, Arlen, we see ourselves as a stars of flooring, and one of the reasons is, we're a local team here that you can trust, and we really provide a seamless service experience, kind of that white glove experience. And one of the things you mentioned is, you're worried about getting additional estimates, and I completely understand that. That makes total sense to me. But a lot of our other customers, they've actually decided to skip those estimates because of the seamless experience that we provide. And as long as we got that budget right.
There you go. That's it. Okay. Like I said, this isn't difficult and I don't want to overcomplicate it. Aaron, that's exactly what I'm looking for right there. Okay, now you'll smooth it out over time. No worries with that. But when I think about this, if I were to drop this in a couple of places, because oftentimes people think, oh my gosh, I have to get other estimates. You know, what are people going to think if I don't get 3 estimates? And what you're telling them is you're giving them permission to not go through that hassle. You know, I'm giving you permission. I'm telling you other people don't do it. You don't have to do it. It's fine as long as we can get your price right. I mean, that's really what you're telling people. You're giving them permission to take their life back and not continue to deal with nonsense people walking in and out of their house. All right, so I'm gonna leave you guys in the same groups, and what I'm gonna ask you to do is just go around your group. Everybody pick one slide to do this with. The rest of you that are listening to this, I really want you to hold people tight to finishing on the money. Okay, that's the key to this, is finishing on the money. The rest of it, you know what? Have fun with the wording. Enjoy this, have some fun with it. And I know we are, because the groups are a little bit bigger than what they were, you know, this morning, you're going to have to move quick to get around everyone, but I'll give you guys about 10, 12 minutes in the group. So you will absolutely need to move pretty quick. So let's get these groups going.
Back we go.
Still not enough time. Got it. All right, so how did that go?
Going good.
Good.
I have decided Blake needs to follow me for like the first month and give me pointers all the way through.
Perfect. I love it.
I want to see
certainly
Nate
for next
and
week.
let's see. I want to see Nate and Eric do a role play because they both sound similar and they talk very similarly with their same words.
I love it. I love it.
Hey, Arlen, I noticed that in the big group and then some of the smaller breakout, we kind of start pitching the slide first and then bring in the understand and then convert. Does that work too, or
You can do it either way.
Okay.
You can do it either way. Some people like the bookmark, the bookends, understand, then the slide, and then convert it. Other people prefer to just pitch the slide and then put it all together at the end. Either way works.
Okay.
Either way absolutely works. You know, the critical piece of this is telling the customer that you understand what their issue is, and they really don't have to be that worried about it because we're going to get the price right. I mean, that's really what I'm doing, is I'm trying to get the customer to stop thinking about the other estimates and start thinking about just, is this price good?
Yeah.
That's it. Good.
I mentioned too, just to Arlen asking, and a lot of you guys probably know this, but if this was kind of an iteration of what's called feel, felt, found, which is a way to kind of, you know, bridge that gap with the customer where you acknowledge how they feel. So, hey, I completely understand, Arlen, that you want to get other estimates. A lot of my other customers, I felt that way. You know, what I have found, though, is that, you know, if you really look at the quality of work we provide, blah, 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 you know, and we're able to meet your price, you know, most people skip that estimate and just go straight with us.
There you go. Yeah, it's the same principle, right? The emphasis that I'm bringing is just wrap it up with the price. That's the bow on the end of the present right there, is just wrap it up with price. Good. Good. All right. So where are we at? Right here. So at the beginning of the day today, I said that I wanted to be able to show you how to take the information that you learn in step one in the warm-up and apply that into your company story. Okay. So what is some of the information that we learn in the warm-up? Well, we learn about hobbies. We learn about family. We learn about where it is that they like to spend their time and their money, right? And I'm going to weave that into the company story. We also learn, when we get right here, we also learn what is their objection. And if I put all of this together, not necessarily on the same slide, but if I take all of that information and I weave that into my company story, now what you have is a very personalized story for the customer. And if you think about it, what are we doing? We're trying to understand what their concerns are, right? I want to spend time with my family. I want to make sure the installers get it done right. I don't trust anybody but myself. I'm going to get other estimates. We try to take all those things and we don't try to beat them down. We say, this is how we fit in with that. And we're going to be able to make this a great marriage. We're going to be able to make this a great partnership between what your concerns are and how we're going to address those concerns. It's that simple, right? I know there's a lot of things that you guys have learned over the last few weeks. To me, learning the company story, it's not about memorizing a bunch of slides. It's not about memorizing a script. It's about knowing how to communicate to the customer and with the customer so that we're addressing their concerns. And it's that simple, right? And the company story is just a medium. It's just a way for you to, it's an excuse, if you will, to be able to talk to the customer about what their concerns are and what their interests are. But if I never bring them up, then I haven't really personalized it and the company story just gets boring. So having said that, what is one thing that you're taking out of today that you're like, I really, really want to apply this? It might be something that you heard in one of the breakouts. Maybe you heard a line that you're stealing that you're going to use. Or maybe it's like, no, I really, really like this that we went over. I want to know what your one big takeaway is from what we've done today. And I'll run through the room quickly. And Jeremy, I'll start with you.
I mean, I like what we've been talking about. Honestly, I like intertwining the objection directly and right into the slides, and then addressing the value and the amount head on. You know,
Nice.
it's going to be, and just really intertwining it.
Nice. Rosa, how about for you?
I would say, honestly, whenever meeting with customers, figuring out what one thing I could apply to that certain slide to make sure that they know I'm actually listening to them.
Good, good. Tyler? Did Tyler freeze? Or is he just sitting really still? He might have frozen. I'll go to John Poon then, and we'll come back to Tyler.
Yeah, I'm the same as Rosa, pretty much just using how the personal experience of the client and then how to strategize, how to strategically apply it onto the present company story presentation, you know.
Good, good. Jen Hine.
I love Nate's the feel felt found. It's like I thought, what a you talk about anything wrapped in a little bow right there. It's just like on a great way to feel like you're not roaming around all over the place, and you can get more concise on that. Of course, your ending on price. So
Nice.
seems like a nice little package to help you keep a format, you know, if you
Nice.
need it.
Nice. Amy.
So I really liked something Gibbs did. So on the Our Promise slide, I've been looking at that as the FCI overall promise. Gibbs really took that down to a conversation between him and Jen about his commitment to Jen personally, and took that from being a big overarching thing to this is specific, me to you and it really felt very personal and well done.
I love it. And Gibbs keeps saying he's got a brain fart. No, the dude, he's got this going on. He's got it. All right, Eric, since you're the man of the hour, what have you got, Gibbs?
For making me feel better about it anyway. I think that what this whole customer story thing to me was sometimes like, God, man, I'm not going to want to do this every time that I get in front of a customer. I'm going to get bored. This bringing their personal thing and that stuff that I learned in the first of meeting these people and bringing it into the story makes it more fun for me. So I really enjoy that.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, you get bored with it, your customers will be bored. If it's fun and exciting for you, it will be for them too.
Exactly.
Good. Aaron.
Yeah, a couple things similar to Eric. There is bringing the customer into the slides. The company story was always like this hard thing for me. I've been in a lot of customers' home, and it feels, to me, it seems like it's gonna feel awkward to like have a slideshow on a tablet. But being able to work in their life, what I've learned about them, like using it to really understand their objection and bring it back to us, like that makes it feel more natural. And then something that Robin mentioned was saying this is one of my favorite parts about FCI, yada, 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 and being excited about the company story. Then if I'm excited about it, they'll be excited about it.
Nice. Nice. All right. It looks like Tyler has unfrozen. All right, Tyler, your big thing today.
I mean, it's kind of like a broad stroke, but it's just, there's no need to overcomplicate it. My brain wants to make every slide way more complicated than it needs to be for some reason. So I start rambling and trying to squeeze in information that isn't necessarily important, or I start repeating myself. So I just need to stop and check myself.
Nice. And with that, he froze again. Mark.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to always think of the warm up as just, making the customer feel comfortable, letting them talk, melting the ice type of situation. But after doing this, I feel like there's more than one point to the warm up. You can use what you're talking about and what you're learning from that and apply it to the slides to help you, as a, trial close type of situation.
Nice. Nice. Patrick.
Yeah, I think there's just the overall being able to bridge the gap between kind of like what Aaron and a couple other folks talked about with the company story and just the sales process, using it as a framework and being able to customize it to the customer's like needs in their home. I think that was like my biggest like thing too, of like, man, I'm trying to process all this information of the process, but also at the same time still not come off super robotic and still connect with them organically, So I think today was really, for me at least, it was exactly what I needed in my training right now.
Good. How about Jonathan?
So pretty much like everybody else said, today was kind of just another, it's, a valuable sort of method in incorporating the customer's story into the mix and making it more personal, and then having the whole process less come off as less robotic and formulaic, which is kind of what I was looking for. So it's helpful.
Good. Eric Chen.
So one big thing I definitely learned today is to stop talking when you hit your goal. Don't just keep rambling on, because then you overshoot your goal, and that isn't helpful.
Nice. Let's see. How about Ryan?
I think the really learned today is to be able to be more confidence on price, to say, we're at 12,333 and another quote's 11,000, and the company story to working in your home really kind of puts that $1,500 or whatever it is kind of sort of out the door, as maybe we can lower to do a little bit possibly better, but I think the assurance that people still can sign at a higher price just to trust us to do the work and be professional, obviously with everything that comes with us. So that's
Nice.
sometimes I've in the past walked away from price or still trying, but not trying to sell value, what I learned today.
Nice. Nice. Let's see. How about Jeff and Carrie?
It's tough to go toward the end because everyone has said a lot of things I was already thinking. For me, it's to practice the whole set and get it to a time. And so just put it on PowerPoint with an auto show and get that thing nailed so that most of the words are there, most of the feelings are there, and the time is not exorbitant.
Nice.
And I was more of a listener in this process, but I thought when we first saw the company story, it was really intimidating. But now I realize that, you know, you pick your strengths, you know, which slides you're most comfortable with and which ones can almost speak for themselves so that you don't, you know, you can get your point across in without wasting too much time in between and still get the story.
Nice. Nice. How about Roger and Alondra?
Well, I think that what we learned today is that doing a good warm up, based on that, we can personalize the company story to the customer to have more like possibilities to land the job. Plus, well, I think that something
Make
that,
it easier.
yeah, I'm being
Make
more,
the process easier, not just kind of memorize what you have to say on the slides, but kind of incorporate your customer's information to it
Nice.
to make it part of it.
yeah, be more confident.
Nice.
It's not just about you.
Nice. Let's see. Robin.
Yeah, I think to echo everyone else, it's repetition and, you know, being quick in responding to objections with the quick and easy response that makes sense versus blah, 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 blah.
Nice. Nice. Let's see. Nikki.
I liked being able to personalize with the warm-up information from the customer. I love the company story. It's one of the reasons why I bought the franchise. So I don't feel like it's awkward. But what I really loved is learning how to get them to not go out and get more quotes. So I think that was my biggest take home, was a way to do that. And I think it's really gonna sell a lot of floors for me.
Nice. Blake.
Yeah, I'll go with the importance in the warm up to understand how they spend their time and how they spend their money.
Nice. Nice. Sandra.
I think, Arlen, we're at the beginning when you spoke about breaking it down into kind of working on two things, where before that I was like looking at it very like this is an enormous amount of information and trying to do that, where maybe tonight's homework is just focus on two things and hit on those, and then tomorrow will be something different.
Nice. Nice. All right. If I've done this right, then Nate, I'm giving you the last word.
All right. Well, I'll take the last word for it. So, Arlen, for me, it's you think about what we talked about. One of the first things is one of the most important pieces when, you know, why people buy is the actual salesperson, is the person that they're dealing with. And you think about everything that we worked on today, it's really finding ways to personalize that and really continue to build on that trust and that bond that you have with the customer, because price is important. Okay. But price is not everything. Okay. And if we're able to really build that personal connection, land the expectations of what we do and how we do it, I think it puts us in a position to dominate. So I love it. I think it was great stuff today. So thank you.
Nice. Nice. All right. So this evening, just like yesterday or Monday evening, those of you that are brand new franchisees, you've been paired up with ops coaches. Tonight, you'll be with the same person that you were with Monday, and then you'll switch tomorrow. And then Design Associates, be sure that you are getting an evaluation tonight somehow, some way, even if you have to present to your dog and self-evaluate, whatever it takes. And get those evaluations forms to me tonight. I look forward to working with you guys tomorrow. And I don't know exactly, I know some things that we have to cover tomorrow, but I don't know everything we're going to do tomorrow until I look through the evaluations. So we'll see what that looks like. But unless there's a reason for us to talk between now and then, I will see you guys at 11 o'clock Eastern tomorrow.
Arlen, quick question. We're supposed to have the drawing ready to roll. Do we have 3 options?
Yeah, come up with 3 options. Yeah, come up with 3 options.
Have them ready to roll.
Yep.
Thanks.
Perfect. Anything else, guys?
Thank you for a good training day, Arlen. We appreciate it.
So if I can find it, and I don't know if I can, but if I can find it, we will start tomorrow with a picture of Nate and his business partner, Josh, and their prom picture that we took while they were here. But I don't know if
I'll give you guys a hint. I'll give you guys a hint. If you love the movie Step Brothers, you will love this photo. And I'll just leave it at that. Arlen, you've got a job to do tonight, okay?
That's right. I got to find it.
And if you fail, I can probably get you a copy, okay?
You probably have it. Good.
Be disappointed if we're not listening to Billy Strings.
That's right. That's right. Good deal.
Awesome.
All right. Take care, guys.
Good
See y'all.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.